Well, hello friends. I can see Maren, Kelly Boga, I guess, and Zinio, if I'm
Mm.
reading the names correctly. Hello, guys.
Hi, Mustafa. How are you
Hello.
doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Glad to meet
And
you.
yeah, Nicole joined also. So the team is complete. Our team is complete.
Very good. So, um, well, if you guys have an idea about the current context, currently we're going through Ramadan. It's the month when people fast until sunset. Then they break their fast. Then they have the time where everybody goes on the internet just to watch some Netflix or just to chat or do some stuff. So the load is huge on the internet. So the guys are still facing troubles connecting.
No worries.
Just to let you know that there are two teams that are working on your project. I don't know if
Okay.
you know that, and I think someone from the other team also joined in from team two. So hi.
Yeah, I'm Livia. I'm from Team Two. Hi.
Hello, Olivia. Hi.
I'm just gonna add my team number. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Do
No, it's
this.
okay. No need. No, I don't think there's any need for team numbers here. We're not going to go into
You
breakout
know,
rooms.
if we
Yeah,
take attendance or something.
Nah.
No, not necessary.
let's just feel free, guys. From my side, at least. I don't know about you,
Oh, I
Roger.
think Cozy also from Team Two just joined. Oh, you're mute. I don't know if you're saying anything.
We saw your lips moving, but
Yeah.
Okay.
So how's the weather in Baghdad now?
Um, it's nice. This is the only, probably the only year where we had a snowy winter, and now we're having a real spring.
Oh
Still,
yeah.
it's still not too hot. Yeah.
what
So
does what does that mean? Not too hot? How hot is hot for you?
yeah, it's like hot is above 35. Now it's around 24 or 25
Oh my word.
Degrees Celsius.
in Celsius. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boston is apparently in summer, but the temperature is like still 20 degrees, 22 around there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
yesterday we had snow. It was crazy.
Yeah, and yesterday there was snow.
Yeah.
Imagine that. But it's supposed to be summer. I just don't understand.
Snow in
It was
Boston.
crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't stay, but it was snowing twice. In the morning and then again in the afternoon.
Dude.
Yeah. But that's fine.
Yeah.
That's Boston weather.
I
Yeah,
even
it's
don't know that, actually.
interesting.
I don't know that it's 20 degree outside already.
It's 16 degrees
It's
now.
16 degree. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, last time when I get out, it's a 1 degree. I mean, it's a quite long time I didn't get out of my room. My god.
Alex, you should go outside.
Man, like the more than 1.5 months, I never get out of my own door.
Oh my
My
word.
God.
Alex, come on. How are you surviving?
Man, the school have a delivery, food delivery, so every day I just ask for food
Yeah, I
delivery.
know about the delivery,
Yeah.
but I mean,
You just go
as
to
a
the door
person.
and get that food.
Yeah, that's it. Because the school don't allow us to get out of the
No,
room.
you are too lazy, right?
No, come on, man. It's so dangerous. I mean,
It's so dangerous.
Yeah, you really help flatten the curve.
you see, we have 5 people confirming my in the accommodation in our accommodation. That's so
5
sad.
people at the whole house.
More than 5. I mean, like 1 month ago is 5. I don't know how many cases right now. The school didn't tell us the detail.
I heard that some people are cured, like maybe 3 people.
Yeah. Should be because we are young, right? We are now old people. Yeah.
But it's so dangerous right now.
Yeah.
Mustafa, what's your situation with the coronavirus in Baghdad? What kind of restrictions do you have?
I mean,
Just
yeah.
a second, I'll call the team and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for some more people from Mustafa's team, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. He's calling his team right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. sorry, I needed to do some phone calls to the team to make sure that they're all are connected. Yes, so the context and the situation for the coronavirus in here is that we had some positive actions taken previously until 2 weeks ago, as the cases decreased from around 50 to 80 cases a day to 15. Then the government stopped the curfew and told people that they can live freely from now on. So we had the cases up to hundreds a day again.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, the economy does not cannot resist the curfew, so it's a very difficult situation for people. They don't know which action they should take, either to stay home or just to go to work and do things. Yes, we do have work from home, but we're talking about those whose work depends on going out and working for technicians and those who depend on daily fees. So it's not
Yeah. Mustafa, since we're talking about connections, what kind of speeds do you usually have in Baghdad?
As in terms of megabytes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask my brother about that. I'm really bad at this.
Okay.
Ibrahim, hold on a second. Habibi, like my friends are asking what type of connection speed we have here in Baghdad in terms of megabytes. About the internet speed here in terms of megabytes. Okay, 40 kilobytes.
40 kilobytes?
So, yeah.
Nah, it can't be. I mean, if you're able to see us in real time and we're seeing you in real time,
Should be more than that.
yeah.
Yeah, he's an
Is
IT,
it,
so
is it ADSL you have?
Should be.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
really bad at this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's through the phone line, you're not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Guys,
not sure.
sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Hi.
Oh, finally. I couldn't hear anything you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yes, this is our presentation of the internet speed here in Iraq.
Yeah, you were talking about our internet speed. Actually, yesterday mine was 3 megabytes. So it was
Great.
something that we were happy about it.
3.
3 megabytes a day. Yeah.
3
It
megabyte.
was a huge thing for us.
That's
Okay.
yeah. It's the same as my school. It's the same. Yeah. The school gave us a limitation for this internet speed, so everybody have a 3 megabyte in the whole house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I totally understand. It is still working, but sometimes have a little bit lagging, right? Yeah.
yes.
Still-
so
but-
we
but-
usually have.
Yeah. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah, I said I was about to say that we usually have bigger expectations for universities as to have speeder connections.
Is like the average? Is that like the 3 megabytes the average for the whole community in your country, or is the like the just part of it, and most part is using like the speed is lower than that 3 megabyte?
Well, first, the internet here is privatized, so it's about the private sector companies that are like, it's all about your service providers. But in general, only at this time, because as I have previously mentioned, we are now during Ramadan, the fasting month. So people fast until sunset, and after sunset, they start. They have free time to sit with family. They go on Netflix. They use the internet heavily to chat and Netflix and do a lot of things on the internet, and even working as well. So the load is big at this time. That's why we're talking about very low averages for internet speed.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
Well, I think now my team is Aya and Gada are here. We have Summer still
Summer.
connecting, and Alice is still connected. Summer is connected.
Tamar is connected. What?
Yes.
It appears she's connected. Okay. I mean, if
So we have Ghada and Summer.
yeah, if I may propose, we'll introduce ourselves to you, if you don't mind. If anyone, from just a brief introduction, so that you'll know with whom you're basically talking, and you'll introduce us to your team, so we'll get the ball rolling. Okay. If I start, basically, I'm Roger Hajar. I'm actually in Lebanon, and I'm studying for an executive MBA at Hull. I actually teach, and I have a small company. I'm basically in the field of astronomy, so that's briefly who I am. Okay.
It's very interesting to hear somebody who has a company in the field of astronomy. Did I hear it correctly?
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's big.
It's so nice to know you, Mr.
Okay, so I'll go next. If we...
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, whoever.
All right. I'm Kia. I'm doing my MBA in Boston. I'm originally from South Africa, and I was in the mining and metals industry before coming to Halt for my MBA, working as a parametallurgist.
Very interesting. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Mustafa.
Hi.
Yeah, I can go next. My name is Maren. I'm doing international business at HALT, and I'm born in Germany, and I used to work. I did my bachelor in automotive engineering, and I used to work in the automotive industry in Germany, like 3 years automotive production, and then I switched to electric mobility. And yeah, now I'm here. I'm very excited to work on your project.
Oh, it's very interesting. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I can go next, and I'm study the hotel management in Switzerland for 4 years, and after I graduate, I'm joining a wedding company. So I'm a wedding planner. I'm doing that job for 2.5 years, and after I moved to US, so take care of my kids after she's doing well, and I come to the school to study. So my major right now is the marketing, international marketing. So yeah, that's it. That's my.
It's nice to meet you.
Team 2, would you like to introduce yourself?
There's still Nick.
Oh,
I
Nicole.
think there's
Nicole, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, all good. Hey guys, yep, my name is Nick. I am a physician, and I'm doing an MBA at London campus. Right now, I'm in Florida, and you would think I'd have great internet access, but the reason I stopped my video is because every time I start it, it tells me I have an unstable internet connection and kicks me off. So if I disappear again, I'm still here. It's just, it's not working very well with video on. So it's nice to meet y'all, and thanks for meeting with us today.
It's nice to meet you. So,
Okay, I think it's
still there?
our team now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm Lydia. I'm from the San Francisco campus. I also study international business, and I studied political science in my undergrad, and I mainly worked with government and governmental relations and companies. So yeah, that's it.
So,
I don't know if anyone could hear what I said. It says that I'm unstable too. So yeah. Okay.
yeah. So, we would like to know where you live, Lucky. Place where you live, the city.
In San
Can you hear me?
Francisco.
Does your picture? Okay. It's nice to meet you.
To meet you too.
Hi, I'm Mustafa. Thanks for taking our call today. My name is Margaret. I'm from the Philippines originally, but I'm taking up a Master's in International Marketing right now in Boston. And I graduated with Communications and Management in my undergrad. So, and I've worked pretty much mostly in marketing and the client side. So that's my experience with this so far.
It's nice to meet you, Martha.
Nice to meet you.
I can go next. Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm from Taiwan, and I'm taking international marketing right now at Boston. And my undergraduate is major in tourism and hospitality. And my experience before, I used to work in the cosmetic and the machine industry before. And my position is as a sales representative. So that's it. Thank you.
Very interesting. Nice to meet you, Yushan. So, is it Yushan or Yushan?
You can call me Sonia or Cozy. I can rename my.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Okay, hello, Sonia. Yeah.
Maybe I can go next.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Daniel Aleman. I'm from Guatemala. It's in Central America. I'm doing my MBA right now in Boston, and I'm a lawyer. I used to work in corporate law, so that's what I do. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so it's nice to meet you, Juan. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi. So who's next?
So I'm the last one. My name is Zhe from China. I'm studying finance in Boston campus. I also studied 4 years finance in China. And I have an internship in investment bank and do some AI research. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
It's nice to meet you, Zhe. Hi. So.
Okay, we're done from my side. So now you've met the two teams, I think.
Okay, so it's very interesting to know each one of you. You guys have each of you has a different, unique skill. I'm very glad to be here on the same call with you guys. I'll first start with myself, and I'll go with my team. So my name is Mustafa Kamal. I'm specialized in Arabic and English translation. I have a big interest in languages on a side, and on the other side, I do have some huge interest in business. I've been working with oil and gas companies in Iraq, as well as non-governmental organizations as well. For the past 2 years, I've been working on entrepreneurship, on youth capacity building in general, on entrepreneurship, and in workforce development with the United Nations Development Program, with Knowledge Gate Organization, and the GIZ in Iraq certainly. And I'm glad to be here with you guys. I guess Ghada will go next.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ghada. I study English Arabic translation, just like Mustafa. We were in the same college. I'm interested in languages. I speak Arabic, English, Turkish, and I'm studying for French. And I have worked before with a company called Dar Takamul, and it is a training center. It helps to develop the English and the English skills, and it develops the business requirements that private sector needs. And that's all about me. I'm so glad being here with you guys today.
Hi, Ada. Yes, so
okay, I'll go next.
Yes, hi.
Since Summer is not connected yet, my name is Aya, obviously. I study microelectronics engineering, and I'm interested in business and technological entrepreneurship. I had several workshops. I did several training workshops in entrepreneurship, and I'm interested in machine learning and how we can merge it with business. That's all.
So hello,
That's a lot.
So it's my role now. Hi everyone, I'm Samar. I'm electrical engineer graduate. My main work is in sales department on sales field in private sector. In addition to my work, I work with UNDP as a volunteer as a design thinking trainer to develop entrepreneur field in Europe. And nice to meet you. Thank you.
Are you all living in the same city?
Yeah, we all from Baghdad.
Yes. So I think that's it for our team, Roger.
Yeah, well, you've received basically that kind of document with a lot of questions.
Yes.
We were thinking out loud, all of us, basically, and just coming up with the kind of questions we would like to ask you. I don't know if anyone would like to basically set the ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, our team also has a really big list of questions. We
Go
didn't
ahead,
send
then.
them before, and I'm sorry about that.
Chloe.
But basically, we wanted to understand a little bit more about the project in the sense of it, like they're curious about revenue, if you guys are wanting to generate revenue, where's the funding coming from, or if that is one of the major concerns that you have.
Okay. So, if I understood you correctly, you're asking about the revenue streams in general only, or is there anything else besides that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have
I mean, if you want to elaborate a bit more on the business model, but
yeah,
oh, sorry.
the business model. Yeah, that was also
Our
like
business model.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I would like to start with the revenue streams in general. The SPC, the Spring Peer Circles, as circles or as a club, it has different revenue streams. Mainly, we work similar to organizations, as we are ourselves are a project, and in Iraq we have organizations such as the UNFPA that is supporting similar projects and programs in the country. So we have funding potentials with the UNFPA. And also we do accept sponsorships, but that all is on a side. And on the other side, if that did not apply at some context due to some budget problems or challenges or obstacles of variant types, we will be taking fees for the membership. We will have membership fees that is estimatedly $20 per participant, $15 to $20. So that is mainly the revenue streams. In terms of cost structure, we can it will vary because we have different activities to be held. Some of them will be held online, and the others will be held in collaboration with sponsoring organizations or companies. So if you can, if you have a specific a question regarding the revenue streams or the cost structure, we can go further into the financial details as straight on point.
Yeah, Mustafa, you said $15, $20. That's per year, right?
Per month, $15 per month. Yes.
What does it represent for? I mean, I think you're targeting students and young professionals, right? That's what you're proposing, saying, aged 18 to 29. What would the $20 represent for an average Iraqi student per month?
Yes, for an average Iraqi student, if I can make it easier to understand, let's say it is for 3 KFC meals, for example, as in terms of the prices in here. And for the students, yes, they can pay that amount of money. We also have a policy for those who cannot afford paying that money, but they also need to be enrolled within the program or the workshops, so that they can just so easily tell us that I'm still a student. If they have a student card, then they're allowed in the club for, like, they have their own discounts. In addition to that, our club targets students and youth from the age of 18 to the age of 28 to 29 outside universities. But inside universities, the universities, especially the private colleges, they will be or like the students in their circles will be organizing the clubs for free for the students, for their classmates and colleagues. So inside universities, it's free, but outside universities, because we have cost, so we need to gain revenue through the payment, the fees.
So the students would have to pay as soon as they finish their graduate program?
No, just as soon as they start.
Can I ask how do you invite participants to join in the club, like especially outside of university? Is there like active promotions that you do to try to recruit members?
Yes. In terms of promotion and marketing, we do have Aya, who is specialized in this aspect, but in general, as to provide a quick answer, for the promotion, we have different channels, and especially for these clubs outside university. As like we did not mention this part, but inside universities, the universities will also take lead for the promotion. Outside universities, here in Baghdad, we will be using both indirect channels that include social media mainly, and sponsored posting on social media. That's on a side. On the other side, which is even more important for us, we have community centers in Baghdad like we have the Iraqi Social Forum, we have other companies and other organizations, we have co-working spaces. These places do somehow have the target people that we aim to work with within this program. So targeting these places or having them as sponsors for a promotion or marketing is one of is within our plan and framework. So we use youth communities, and so we collaborate with youth communities as well as universities for the promotion, and in addition to social media marketing.
Do you invest any money on the Google, like Google advertising? Like the.
I'm sorry.
Do you put any money in the Google advertising?
Yes, for the Google advertising, it would be a great opportunity to utilize this as a tool for marketing and advertising. But yeah, unfortunately, here in Iraq, people don't really use websites as they usually do on Facebook or Instagram. So the best channels is to go through social media platforms directly.
Okay.
Okay, if it's okay for you, Mustafa, I still have some questions on the business model itself.
Go ahead.
So you have the revenue stream, the monthly payment from your members. That's like, I guess, your biggest revenue stream. And in addition to that, I guess you are planning with some sponsorships. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you also include the universities or the private companies you want to work with? Like in terms
as
of revenue?
for sponsorship and funding,
Mm.
yes. You know, I'm speaking to
Marin,
Marin,
that
I
was
guess,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
So Marin, working, having this type of activities here tells us that we mainly can do funding. We can apply for funds with organizations or big universities. And the second thing is that we do take the monthly membership or membership fees from students who can pay and afford paying. But for sponsorship and having any sort of financial revenue from companies and other stakeholders, it is possible for some companies, but in general, we look forward to only sponsorship that covers probably marketing, well, or maybe some other companies will take lead of the printouts as sponsorships. As in terms of financial sponsorship, as just they fund or they sponsor the activities financially, we don't see very big potentials, especially after the ongoing context here, since most businesses have been shutting down recently. So the companies are not ready to pay us money, but if we ask them, for example, if they are a printing company and we tell them that if you sponsor us with printouts, they will be collaborative on that area.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there, in addition to that, anything the government does for you? Is there like maybe any kind of governmental aid or whatever you could make use of?
Financially, the government is also going through its own challenges. It's facing its own financial challenges, and they are not, unfortunately, are not allocating budgets or aids for such initiatives, activities, or programs. But we like outside the financial framework, the universities have their career development centers, the CDCs, that are linked directly to the universities and to the Ministry of Higher Education. That type of sponsorship, like they can not fund, they don't give money, but they can provide us with a place to host our activities inside the universities, or maybe sometimes even for students from other universities to be hosted within their universities.
So in terms of locations, you would mainly use the CBC locations.
The CDCs for university students, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you already have contacts with some universities, private or public?
Yes. We let's say we do have connections, but and we established some very basic contact for the SPCs. But I would like to make something clear for everyone here in the meeting, is that our goal was to start this spring, and like we had our pilot project in 2018, and we closed the project with the company, and we had all the data ready to redesign and start the SPCs starting with last October. But we had the demonstrations and revolution in Iraq, so we needed to pause it until spring. And since it would have started in spring, in March, we named it Spring Peer Circles, in addition to the spring thing, as like when you come, you just be in the community, you emerge, then you communicate, then you develop, so you spring. It gives you a push. So unfortunately, also in March, we had the COVID-19 curfew and the quarantine, so we did not launch the program. What I wanted to emphasize by saying all these details is that for us as the SPCs, we are planning to have only one big circle in Baghdad outside universities that will gather both students and young professionals for at minimum 6 months. Then from those alumnus, we will have those who are interested in continuing these social patterns, learning patterns, or circles inside their universities. So they build teams, we train their teams, and they open universities. So the timeline for establishing any circle inside universities is until October next year, October in 2020, which is the next academic year in Iraq. So we have time for universities. Also, we communicated with the CDC management in the Ministry of Higher Education for potentials, and also for facilitation for registering the clubs inside the universities. And we had, they gave us a green light, but we did not proceed because, as I have mentioned, the time frame is the time frame in line with the situation. Both gave us some pause in the process. Was my answer accurate, or did I elaborate a lot, or
No, I mean, I think if I understood correctly, you're planning for the time being to start outside of universities, and then you'll wait for the body of alumni that will be coming out of the circle to probably start within the different universities and units. Now, it's interesting to know that you've already contacted the Ministry of Higher Education, so you already have basically an easier access probably to public universities.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same situation with private universities, or you need to probably contact them separately, I guess? Right?
Through the CDCs, it's one communication. We communicate to the CDCs with the ministry, then we go through directly for private universities.
Okay. Let me ask you a few questions about the social environment, because ultimately you're trying to solve a particular problem with the spring peer circles. And you mentioned that you needed to train people in English and business because it seemed to you that these were handicaps to get into the private sector. So the question is basically about this. What do you plan? What kind of activities do you plan to do? Where do you see it? I mean, and then why would you concentrate specifically on English and business? How would that, you think, would be an advantage? And how would the spring peer provide something that's different than what's provided by maybe, I don't know, training centers? Because I mean, one of you worked in training centers, etc. So what is the differentiation you're putting into the perspective to understand somehow the kind of activities you're planning to do? And
okay, so Roger, I just need to know, am I free to also mention the context and the situation, because I'm trying to give as much details as possible so everybody can have an understanding of the situation and build on that?
Yeah, I guess so, because I mean, the more we understand your context, the more it will help us help you, if we can help in a way, basically, or at least provide ideas.
Okay, so yes, graduates in Iraq in general, all, like, let's say 70% to 80% of university students in Iraq are going to college and specializing in fields that they are not really aiming to study. They are not choosing the fields of study because they like them, but because there's some sort of process, as you just get your total average from high school, then the ministry, then you just give a list of universities to the ministry, and they just pick a university for you. Then you just go to college, unless you could just choose something that you like very much, or you go to private colleges and you pick the field you like. That's not too strict, but it is a very common situation for so many students in the country. That's one thing. So the first thing is that so many students are studying fields that they don't really have a lot of knowledge about at the first place. And then second, throughout their academic life, we, as like so many other countries and so many other universities, we have a gap between the private sector needs and the graduation projects and the educational programs. And this even applies, in fact, to all universities in the world. Like if you go, for example, to Harvard as a university, it is like the fees are higher than other universities because let's say that Harvard is closer to the private sector requirements than maybe some other universities. Same thing here for Iraq. So the main weaknesses that we want to tackle or we want to build on are that students are studying the fields and they are not having a lot of knowledge about the business or the market needs in the field they are studying. What I mean by that, for example, if you're studying, let's say studying petroleum engineering, it's a very common field in Iraq, and most students are keen to study that field. But when it comes to graduating, when they graduate through their academic years, they don't have enough vocational training. They don't know the operating companies, although they are big, but they don't have the right communication with those companies. They don't have many opportunities to meet people from those companies, so they still lack knowledge about the petroleum engineering. But like they only have the theory, they don't have the practice, they don't have the communication. So what we are working, that's for the business thing, as we build or we bridge the gap between the universities and the educational programs. And I'll talk about the value proposition that is different from the training centers in a bit, but I will after I finish speaking about why we chose English language. Also orienting Iraq as speaking of Iraq as a country that is very famous and rich for its petroleum companies, and the so many international and local companies are working here on petroleum, as well as some other fields, although there are less. All companies require proficiency in English language. And let's say all companies, even local companies in Iraq, have their emailing, have all processes in English language.
Could I interrupt just a minute? How do they define proficiency in English?
Through tests.
Okay.
You just go through a test. You need to qualify for IELTS or for TOEFL.
Okay.
And that is not for everyone. I mean, like for some local companies, you just need to be speaking English in the interview, and that's it. But you need to get tested somehow, like one way or another. So the main two things are English and business. Was my answer clear? I was trying to give details, and I felt that what I gave somehow made it not so clear what the points are. Was I clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. So that's for business and English. For the activities, what we're planning to do is we are introducing, let's say, 3 different approaches, methodologies, and models. The first is peer education. We do have, like, especially in the last 3 years, we are having more student organizations, more youth trainers, more programs working on youth, and youth and peer education and peer training is becoming more popular. So applying this model is quite important because it gives youth the understanding that they are not unqualified for giving training. In fact, they see their peers giving them training, and they qualify and they have connections and so. And the second thing is that we apply the language immersion methodology. What is different, Roger, from all training centers in Iraq? When I say all, I mean, like, let's say 98% of all training centers in Iraq and language centers, is that they all use the same academic way of teaching a language. For me as a person, I do speak 7 languages, and I have never learned grammar. So what I mean by never learned grammar is that I have never taken a grammar course. Language immersion methodology is when you put someone into the language, you let them live the language, practice it on daily basis through a program or through an approach or a strategy where you maintain communication with the participants in English language. So first, we are giving them English language as like it's a community that speaks English, and they need to qualify for A1 level in European scale for languages. So they get tested for A1. Then when they do have A1, which is the basic level of a language, they are qualified to be in the club. The club is an environment that speaks English. And for anybody, for example, if you travel to the States or travel to Germany, you spend some time there, then you start speaking the language better than you would if you were just in a class. You take the class 1 hour a week, then that's it. And you only learn grammar. So we give them the opportunity to practice. And for them to practice, here is the business place. We don't want them just to talk about their routine or their daily activities. In fact, we want them to communicate, to develop their communication skills, to develop their business knowledge, and for sure to take some training workshops and activities that help them build better, build good experience in different areas. So we are utilizing their interest in or their desire for being proficient in English language to introduce them to business. Then we put business here in addition to so many entertaining activities. We have a book club. It is also business oriented, but it's a book club. We have a conversation club. We do play songs, we play music, we do dances, we do parties and celebrations. So it's an entire youth community where everybody in there has the interest in English language. They share the objective of qualifying for the Iraqi employment, private sector employment requirements. And certainly they are having a common space. I think so far I gave like, let's say, a general understanding of why business and English and how we are applying both at the same time through peer education and creating a common space for youth together around the objective of having better employment opportunities. So
I have just a question here. Maybe I misunderstood, but did you say you need to pass the A1 level to become a part of all that club activities?
Yes, A1 level is the basic level where they can just read and write mainly, and they have just basic.
Okay, so before you get like the membership of the club, which is also connected to the monthly fee, the monthly payment, you have to pass the A1 test.
Well, yes. In general, we have one session a week. Each weekend, we do have one session for the club. Everybody comes for 2 hours. We have the activities that are like starting from the personal experiences, going through the games and activities and business knowledge and stuff. But it's all in a shape of discussion. So we have 4 sessions a week, one each weekend. That's for sessions. In addition to that, we do have workshops we have 2 workshops a week, separate from the sessions, provided by organizations, local or international, as well as companies, building youth capacities on different areas. And coming to these sessions is not obligatory, and to these workshops is not obligatory. In fact, it depends on interest. So we do provide them with workshops. We also have the sessions. If I can elaborate, I would also like to mention that we do also facilitate internship opportunities and training opportunities with programs. Let's say even the youth leadership program, we nominate people for these programs to participate, and we bring those from universities to nominate them for entrepreneurship or business training with international organizations, and just we put them closer to the business market in different ways.
Okay. Speaking about A1, and that makes me think about something about the education system in Iraq. Do you study English in schools? How many hours? And then how many of the students come up going to college that might have a level equivalent to A1, or is it something that is not the case currently in Iraq? And what's the situation also at the college level? So if you graduate from college, from a public university like the University of Baghdad or somewhere else, do you end up studying languages also in the university? And would that help you in your level of English?
Okay. So yes, I'll first start with the educational program starting from schools. You start English, you start learning English language from the first year of your primary school as a student in Iraq. So you study English for, let's say, 12 years until you graduate from high school, with at minimum 3 hours a week of English classes. As in terms of percentage, we have 9%. Yeah, and yes, we like all fields study English at university. Although the academic methodology is not quite efficient for them. So we end up with those who graduate from high school as only 9% of high school graduates in Iraq do speak English fluently. And not because of the educational programs, but in fact because of their immersion in language through movies, music, or some communities similar to the FPCs, these Spring Peer circles. And so 9% only do speak English professionally, and we have 30% of high school graduates in Iraq and college students who can establish basic communication or have basic communication in English language, and all the others can, at minimum, read and write. So at minimum, they have maybe they can just read and write and not qualify for A1, but we can build their capacities to reach to qualify for A1 level. So the percentage are 9% for professionals and proficients in English language, 30% for those who can have basic communication, and the rest is for those who vary from those who can't speak English to those who can at least read and write, and there are many. And we're targeting the rest mainly.
You're targeting those who are not fluent and those who are not. So you're targeting those who are not in the 39%.
Exactly.
Okay. So basically, if someone has a certain level of English, you don't admit them. If their level of English of proficiency is high enough, they're not admitted to the clubs, to the circles.
No, everybody is admitted.
Okay.
As soon as they qualify for A1 and above.
It sounds like that the hurdle of getting that the hurdle of getting membership of the club is pretty high, especially because also the doing the language test, etc., is connected to certain costs. I'm not sure how much it is in Iraq, but I only know that I did the IELTS test here, and it was like $250 or something, and that's like quite expensive to do that. And to study for the test by myself before even getting the membership of a club.
So Maren, yes, the IELTS test is expensive, but we don't do IELTS test. We do our own test that is only like for 20 to 30 minutes. They just come, they talk for like, the oral test is 10 minutes, and they have written test for like other 10 to 15 minutes. So we can assess their level of English in general, because we're targeting those who are able to come to a community that only or mainly speaks only English. Then we want them to understand what's going on. Then they have people to assist them to understand more what's going on. Then they will be required to learn English. So the A1 level that we're talking about is mainly, it's not academic, it's just that they can read, write, and just speak basic English. And we will do the test ourselves. So no payment, it's even free before becoming a member.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you also have programs for those who like fail your test to practice and improve their English? Because there might be someone who's very bad at English and doesn't get the level you require.
Yes, we do that in collaboration with Knowledge Gate organization, a non-governmental organization operating on youth capacity building in Iraq. In fact, this is the organization I work for as a program manager. We agreed with them that for youth that are below A1, they will be enrolled in their English language program so that they can acquire a level of A1 to A2, and then they will be members in the club. That's on a side. For those who can't pay, they just go for free. Who can't afford paying for a course, they can just go for free, then they enroll in the Spring Peers, because the payment, the monthly fees, the membership fees for the Spring Peers is quite affordable for youth, but the course fees are not so easy to be afforded.
Okay, I have a question. I have my notes from everything that you said, but I wanted to hear from you what you think your biggest challenge at the moment is and your biggest hurdle at the moment is.
Mhm. Sorry,
Oh,
not hearing you well.
can you hear me now?
I can much better.
Oh, sorry. I took notes from everything that you said, but I kind of wanted to hear from you. What is the biggest challenge that your project is facing right now?
If we will elaborate on right now, then our challenge is that it's not quite easy for us to adapt quickly to the continuously changing context and situation in the country, especially for this year. We had demonstrations in October, so we couldn't launch. Then we had the coronavirus, the COVID-19 outbreak in the country in February, and we couldn't launch as planned in March. Sorry, that was French. So we were not actually planning to launch in Mars, the planet. Yes. So so the adaptation to the different context, the situation that is continuously changing, this adaptation is the challenge for us. So I didn't want to give the answer as only for the COVID-19 outbreak because we don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Especially we are in the year 2020. Surprises.
Yeah. Okay. Down.
Unfortunately, I'm reading some messages from my team, and they're actually having troubles with the connection, and they're not being able to participate. But guys, if you can just hear me from my team, if you have anything to add, I hope you can just. Rada.
You can also use the chat if that's more convenient.
Yes, too.
Yes, you guys can also use the chat.
Actually, Mustafa, you explained everything in details.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me ask you another contextual question about the situation in Iraq. Okay, the social context again. You're saying that the current youth unemployment is about 24%.
Yes.
And one of your aims is to reduce it by about 1%.
Yeah, which is big.
Okay. Yeah. The question is, do you suffer from unemployment or underemployment? I don't know if you know really what's the distinction between the two.
I do have an understanding, but I would like a clarification of the underemployment.
Okay. The issue is the following. I mean, when I was looking briefly at data, I mean, population-wise, etc., I noticed that the population of Iraq is increasing by about 2 to 2.5% every year.
Yes.
So basically, you have a very young population. Now, the question is unemployment due to the fact that there are not enough jobs, or is unemployment due to the fact that people are unqualified for the jobs that are available?
Oh, that brings us to the private sector climate. Okay,
Can I answer that?
Yes, go ahead, Aya.
As we all know, in every country in this world, you can't just go work in every governmental companies, because that doesn't make sense. Not all students should go and work for the government. This concept, we don't have it here. Like, there is jobs in the private sector, but the problem is our major concept within the students' mind, that I should work for the government in the government companies because it's more safe, or these things. Then by this, we will have students who will graduate. They have no CV. They have nothing in their CV, because they don't have this idea of I can work in the private sector, because this makes sense. I have opportunities in the private sector, but I'm not qualified enough. Like I'll give you an example. I study, as I said, microelectronics engineering. In our private sector in Iraq,
Yes.
Right, it might be her connection that actually went poor.
I guess she got cut off.
Is she
Yeah.
still there?
In the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, she was saying about
Just as we were getting to the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, fortunately, I do have an Ethernet cable that my brother gave me, and it's helping me with the connection a bit better. Aya, if you can hear me, I'll try to give an answer, and if you will elaborate, then yes, you can anytime. You can cut me when you get reconnected. In order to answer this question, as I mentioned, we will need to talk a little about the private sector climate in the country. We do have three main stakeholders for this unemployment question. The first is that the public, the people, and the second is the government, and the third is the private sector companies themselves. For private sector companies, we do definitely have. I don't want to say that we have a new private sector, but in fact, Iraq suffered from a socialist regime for 35 years until 2003. And all private companies were nationalized and owned by the government by the 80s and 90s. So after 2003, the international companies, the big companies started to come in the market, although there were many obstacles and challenges. But starting from 2007, we started to have more private sector companies. And until 2016 to 2000, until 2015 exactly, the private sector companies in the country, the ISIS thing that happened in 2013, it led the government to not have contracts with the Iraqi private companies. Well, in fact, they needed to have contracts with international companies due to the World Bank restrictions. So the Iraqi private people in Iraq started to have more than less than more private sector companies. In general, as to answer this, we do have private sector that is local and international. It is somehow new. It is emerging and it's developing, but it does not have enough capacity for all university graduates on a side. On the other side, they do have positions. They do offer internships. They do have opportunities. They have training opportunities for youth. They do have summer training for youth, vocational trainings. But unfortunately, what they are looking for is like, although there are very few, although the opportunities are not quite sufficient as in terms of capacity, but they exist. And although that these companies are not finding the qualified youth for that, because youth, as I am mentioned, are oriented towards the governmental and public sector employment for its job security and financial security. This gives them that the understanding that I don't need to go to this training. I don't need to do this training. I'll just graduate, then seek an employment with the government, and I'll feel safe for my entire life. So they are not building their CVs in the orientation of working with the private sector. The enterprise culture is not quite clear for them. The government itself is not having clear policies, or it's not promoting its policies that support the private sector and tell people that they can have retirement at least with the private sector. So these main stakeholders are having gaps between them. Then yes, Roger. Yes, so there's private sector companies. They can't host all students, but all graduates and students, most graduates and students are not really interested in taking these opportunities. And by having less qualified locals for those employments, the Iraqi companies are hiring expats that are making a financial burden on the companies. So they will be glad if we could provide them with youth who are keen and willing to seize these opportunities.
May I
Just a
ask
question.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Just for my understanding, maybe it's a very easy to answer question, but why do you think the government does not close the gaps that you found?
Yes. So for the government in Iraq has so many challenges to face in order to govern, let's say, comfortably. So focusing on this aspect requires them to raise awareness among the public on the importance of the private sector and the opportunities they have with the private sector. Unfortunately, the government is not doing that. It is establishing documents such as the public-private dialogue. It is some sort of a community that organizes work between the private sector and the public sector in the country. But that is not, like, let's say, less than 1% of people are aware of that. Also, the labor law. The labor law in Iraq is quite developed, and even for the private companies, they can have like, there's pension, there is they can get retired after working for at least 20 years with the private sector, and they will have their own financial security after retirement, as in terms for employees. But people are not aware of that. People and so the government for the past 2 years, in collaboration with so many organizations, including the UNDP and the GIZ, are trying to immerse or introduce youth and graduates heavily to the private sector, to the enterprise culture, to entrepreneurship. They're doing training. Like, I'm one of the trainers for the past 2 years, and we've been suffering from problems that we as organizations are providing free vocational trainings, and we're calling for application. Youth apply and they don't come because they still fear the private sector. For the government, it's not easy to change the concept, to change the understanding among public, to change the orientation of the public, to be aiming to work with the private sector. It's very challenging, and it requires generations. Thanks for the organizations that have been working. Now we have a good percentage of youth who are now immersed in the entrepreneurship and business community, and that we are hoping as SPCs to be among them.
That's very interesting. Thank you.
Nicole, you had a question, right?
Yeah, no, I think you kind of got to the heart of it there. My question was more of if there was a difference in the types of jobs, like relating to income or something, but it seems more that it's just people aren't properly informed about their opportunities in the private sector and the security that they can get from working for them. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. It's not related to, the pay or, their ability to get some sort of pension plan. It's more that they just don't know.
They don't know on a side. On the other side, we have companies that are not, like, they don't register, like, the monitoring from the government is also weak. You just got me to this point, Margaret. The monitoring from the ministries involved in working with the private sector or monitoring the private sector is not quite strong, and many private sector companies are not registering their employees with the government as employees, and so they are damaging the application or the enforcement of the labor law, and by so we can see so many negative examples of people working with the private sector, then they're quitting because they are getting low paid or they are facing challenges in different areas working with those companies and stakeholders.
Got it.
Could I ask a question? Mustafa, in your project, wait.
Yes.
In your project document, you mentioned that it was one of your goals to partner up like 10 to 15 private sector companies.
Yes.
Do you have target companies already? Like from what fields, what industries? Because I come from a consumer goods and retail background. So I was thinking about, do you have, like, are you looking at global companies like Coca-Cola, Samsung, those kinds of things?
Yes, in fact, yes. Most most big companies in Iraq having their vision of supporting youth initiatives and programs. We have Zain as a telecommunication company or Asiacell. They both are supporting such activities. Actually, we were planning to collaborate, and we have honestly we have previously established communication with Zain for sponsorship for the club if it had started in spring as planned. So yes, we have Zain as a company. It's a telecommunication company that is supporting youth initiatives, projects, and programs within its vision and implementation for sure. And also we have organizations that like such as KnowledgeGate organization that is deeply involved in youth capacity building in business and entrepreneurship. We also have the, not for financial sponsorship, but as in terms of support, we do have the UNDP Accelerated Labs in Iraq that are continuously offering support in different areas within the program. Samsung as a company, yes, it is involved in such activities. We do have one of the organizers as from Samsung, and she is very collaborative. She's working on the sales, and she said that their company is willing to support, but we are not sure about the financial support recently. I'm just like, just to be more clear, we established communication for sponsorship and financial support previously, as I have mentioned, but we are not sure if it's still ongoing, and we cannot discuss it until the situation is stabilized again, because all companies are going through financial difficulties, and
of course, yeah.
can't ask them now.
Okay.
Mustafa, I just wanted to pry a bit more in the awareness situation that you talked about. Is it just a matter of awareness, or is it also some behavioral change that will be needed? Like if they knew about it, would they be willing to change and go to the private sector, or is it just a matter of, well, whether we know or we don't know, we still want to work for the government?
No, we are expecting behavioral change. Can I know who's speaking, because your name is not showing on screen?
Oh, sorry, it's Kia. Can you see me now?
Yes, I can. I do.
Yeah.
So yes, Kia. We are expecting a behavioral change. If you read the concept note, we are willing to. I'll give an example. As I have mentioned, starting from 2011 and until mainly from 2017 and now, until now, we the initiatives and programs on youth capacity building only in business and entrepreneurship from initiated by organizations and companies were heavier than before. This, in fact, like let's say before 2017, before 2016, it was not quite common to see guys and girls grouping after college working on their graduation project, for example, or guys and girls sitting in cafes working on their computers. It was not so common. It was common before, but it's not from 2005 until 2015. It was not. So these initiatives did the role in behavioral change for at least let's say 1 or 2% of the community, and we are expecting the same thing to happen as it happened for other aspects. We are expecting it to happen and to be more clear, its impact to be more clear within the next 2 years, on how people will be more oriented towards the private sector, especially with the last 2 years working on entrepreneurship and awareness on the private sector and privatization, as well as the enterprise culture. And we're putting 2 years forward to see the impact. So yes, we are expecting a behavioral change in general, and it's not just awareness, because if we just tell them that you can do this, for example, you can just drink Pepsi instead of Coke, and they will, because Pepsi tastes better for me. But if I haven't tried both, I will not be able um, to tell which one is better. So we will be also giving them the opportunity to try the private sector, at least for training and internship. Then they will be able to decide what they want.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I mentioned the Pepsi and Coke not for advertising, but in fact they both taste similar, so you can tell. It's as vague as
I get
public
it.
and private employment for Iraqis.
No, I get it.
I have a question. It's about like a payment. So does the private company pay more than the government pay?
Yes.
Okay, they pay more, and the benefits, I mean the extra benefits, except the payment, does they get more in the private company or than the government company? Like insurance, like more holidays.
No, it's in fact sometimes, especially working with organizations, you have more time. You can get more days off. You can have a flexi time system with the private sector. You can do that with the government. The government is always an 8 to 3 working days, and they work like 5 days a week, and it's very strict and rigid. Unlike the private sector, which is more flexible and has and offers more and bigger opportunities for development and better payment and insurance.
Okay, I think about people who work in the government company. Does that mean that he have better, higher social status? When the other people seeing him.
It's not for everyone. Yeah, it's if we are speaking about graduates, they have two options. The first is to wait until a public employment opportunity is there so that they can apply, and that may take them 6 years, maybe, and even more. Or they can just get a low-paid private sector job that is similar to internship. They may get, let's say, $300 a month for like when they first start as graduates, which is fair for the Iraqi market, but not. I've mentioned it a bit ago. Not all companies are being so transparent about their employment. They may employ youth, or they may employ graduates, but they may not register them for insurance. So it's a bit risky for them, for people to take initiative towards working with the private sector. So monitoring is out of our scope, like the governmental monitoring on this aspect, on the payment, on the labor law is not within our scope, but we are working on raising awareness on the existing and training and building connections and communications. So getting to the payment, not everyone can get the high payment, but if you work for at least 2 years with the private sector, you will have a better financial status than the public.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay.
Mustafa?
Yes.
Where is it easier to get laid off, in the public sector or in the private sector?
Definitely the private sector.
And where do you guarantee health insurance and retirement easier, in the private sector or in the public sector?
For retirement, it's the public sector because you are sure that you are registered with the government. But for insurance, already, as I've mentioned, the system the financial system in the country is, to some extent, is socialist. Although we have private companies, but for hospitals and universities, public universities, they are free. Public hospitals and public universities. For the health insurance, the public employment does not provide you the health insurance. It in fact only provides you with the ability to go to the public hospitals similar to any other citizen. But the private sector companies provide you health insurance for the private hospitals. Still not all of them.
I'd like to add on to what Livia asked earlier, because I think you gave us a really good feeling about the project and also the backgrounds, which is very helpful for us. I'd like to know a little more about how exactly we can help you here. We all read your document and the questions you had, and for me it sounded more like, I mean, you have like a very solid plan already. You have everything figured out. You were already twice ready to launch. So I understood what you want from us is like kind of consulting on how you could improve even further, how you could structure and grow your success and your potential in the future, and like in general ideas we have to add on your already existing concept.
Yes.
Okay, is there like anything specific where you say, okay, maybe you could focus on that area, or especially in this certain field, we would be happy about any ideas?
Yes. We in fact, as you said, that we were ready to launch, and each time we were ready to launch, we had new connections and new companies, like not new stakeholders in terms of labeling, but new stakeholders in terms of company names, as well as people. But when it came to the point that when it comes to the point that we have not launched yet, this means that we're still in process, and we are still in the development process of the club. The main areas that we need very, very good understanding of, or we need to develop professionally and sufficiently, are the marketing. Marketing ideas can be of huge benefit to us. That's one. The second one, what I mean by marketing is not just establishing a Facebook page or so, but maybe we can just find the new ways together to promote for the program or the club. The second thing is that the innovations that can be utilized for us in order to maintain financial sustainability, that's first, because as I have mentioned, we do have, like we said, the company sponsorships and the funding, and both are not something we are sure about, especially this year in 2020. So many organizations and companies are having huge financial difficulties, or even international organizations are having funding difficulties. So we're not sure if we will be able to get funds. And for the students, we don't want to get them all to pay. Our plan is that only for those who can pay shall pay. So maybe if we can find an area or a model or a methodology where we can manage the financial sustainability in a way that is more flexible and can engage more students and more youth around the clubs. That's two. And the third is we were wondering if you guys can help us on, we don't want to say launching, but on having a more flexible system that can adapt easier to the continuously changing circumstances and context in the country. Starting from pandemic, maybe you can just recommend some online ideas, like to launch the club online, and just to have some bigger ideas, bigger initiatives. Maybe you guys will those questions are not clear for us, honestly. We do have our answers, but all what I've been talking about is the situation when we were planning, like until March 21st, which was the estimated launching date. So these are the areas of gap that we have. marketing, financial sustainability, as well as the development of an easier adapting system.
Okay. A few rapid fire questions, just simple answers. What's the interest rate if one would like to start a small business and would like to take a loan from a bank?
You are asking me about what will the bank require if I
interest
will apply
rate
for a loan?
And yeah.
Yes. So first, the system in Iraq does not allow banks to give loans to projects similar to ours. We need first to be registered as a company. Only companies or shops or like we need to be registered somewhere as something related to trade, so that we can get a loan. And speaking of what they will require is a feasibility study, a financial plan, a team, a qualified team. They will need to meet the team as well. They need to see our action plan as well. They need to see our stakeholders mapping. And most importantly, I'll repeat the financial plan because they need to focus on the financial plan and how we'll manage to settle the thing.
Okay, I don't mean the Spring Pierce circle in particular. I mean, if someone would like to start a company, since you're talking about registration, how difficult or easy is it to register a company today in Iraq? How costly would it be? And basically, once you get all those documents and submit them to a bank, what would they charge in terms of interest rates?
Okay, so on a scale from 1 to 10, for youth, there are two types of registration. The first is a it's a unique and new registration system that started 1 year and a half ago, between Innovation for Development Project from UNDP Iraq with the company registration directorate in the country, as they can nominate the winning project only for the winning project, and some projects nominated by the project by the UNDP Iraq to be registered for only $20. But in general,
yeah,
$20. Okay,
other
that's
than
for
that,
company
yeah.
registration. And any other financial costs will depend on the project itself or on the company itself. But this opportunity is not quite wide open for everyone, as in fact, like you need at minimum $2,000 to $3,000 to establish your own company. That's in terms of the money you need, in addition to going through the bureaucratic processes, communication with different directorates. Like it's too complicated, it's too bureaucratic, and it costs time and money, a lot of time and a lot of money. It's not easy.
Okay, and once you got all this done and you go to the bank, you've got your business plan, you ask for a loan, you get your loan, what kind of interest rate would they ask you to give?
Yeah. The interest will rise from, like, let's say some banks go for like 10%, and some even go for 50%.
50% or 15?
50, like 50.
Okay. What's the availability of investors, private investors, or incubators that are willing to support venture capital, something like that? Anything available in Iraq in that regard?
Okay. So for private investors, or speaking especially on entrepreneurial projects, the angel investors in the country are like, they do exist, but less than other countries in the MENA. Like speaking of like the UAE, Kuwait, or Saudi Arabia, like we have less angel investors, although they exist, and getting the investment like get their convenience is quite not easy. So also getting a private sector company to invest in your own project is still not easy. So it depends on how strong your communications are, how good and matching your project fit is to the market needs, and most importantly, how good you are in planning, and more specifically financial planning. So, and it's all about connections. Yeah, but I would also like to mention that for the first time ever, around 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, Ashur Bank in Iraq launched its I don't really remember the name, but it is for like it's for financial support for the projects and companies that suffered from financial difficulties and are still suffering from these difficulties due to the pandemic outbreak, the COVID-19 outbreak. So they were giving loans without interest, zero interest.
Cool.
But only for 50 companies. And the limit is also $50,000.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, sorry, I'm just jumping in just really quick because I need to go, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. You're obviously very knowledgeable, and Team 2 will definitely be in touch with you, and we hope that we're able to help. Yeah, sorry, but I need to go. Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, C.
Thank you.
Roger, I texted you, so that you can just check the content.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you probably want to rest before Suhoor tomorrow morning, early morning. At what time is it? At 5 a.m., 4:30?
No, here it's like it's 3 a.m. Like now it's 10:40. But
Oh.
No, it's 10:40 right now. But we are speaking about Suhoor. It's like the morning breakfast here.
Yeah, so we don't. I'm pretty sure that no one would like you to end up extremely tired tomorrow morning just because you met with us. So
yeah, I'm actually pleased to meet with you guys. I would like to answer all questions, but maybe we can continuously schedule meetings whenever you guys need, and you just can have my phone number. Roger, we can even have our own WhatsApp group if you would like.
Yeah, I mean, if the others are okay, yes. I mean.
So I don't know, like, do we have more questions that need to be answered today, or?
Can I have one?
Go. Sorry, Alex, can I go? Just one quick question. How big is the club right now? Like, how many members do you have?
Okay, so speaking of the in general, the club community from the pilot project, and now we have around like 50 to 60 people around the club. Okay, but we haven't launched yet, so we don't know the real numbers. But like we have 35 of these people are like, they have been asking about the club for the past year. Like, when are you guys gonna launch? And the others are still interested and around, but like we are facing difficulties of different types and challenges.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but a small question. It's about like you mentioned the students study English like from primary school until the high school, and but when they graduated from high school, do they need to pass some kinds of exam, and then they according this exam score they can go to college, or the government just give them opportunity to go to get in the college?
Can you just repeat your question?
It's like, for example, most of the high school in other countries, like after their graduation, they need to have an exam. The exam,
yes.
Then they, according this exam score, they can use this score to get in the college. Is that like same situation in?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we call it baccalaureate.
Okay, so the baccalaureate thing does it necessary that people study English?
It is, but
Is-
within the program they should graduate with a B1 level, but they only graduate with an A1 to start at A2 level.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So.
Okay, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, any other question for now, or we'll let you go to rest now and get ready for the fasting.
I have like 1,000 questions more, but that's like the most important we covered for now. I think.
Okay. So I'm pleased to meet you guys. I think I was wondering if I've been having some texting on WhatsApp with my team, and I wonder if anybody would like to say anything. Aya, you're back. You're connected. Samar. We don't usually do this. We all talk, but today I was the one leading Gadel because I was the one communicating, and also for like we had this travel connection. Hopefully next meetings all of us are going to be on board speaking and with our cameras open and having further discussions and communication.
I hope that too, Mustafa.
Yeah, we do. So I think okay, so Aya Salam says I can't hear you. Okay, so this is my team, this is our problem, we'll solve it next time. Guys, from my side, I just want to say thank you, my team, guys, Aya, Samar, Ghada. Would you like to say anything?
No, just remember Ghada name.
Oh, okay. So thank you, guys, thank you very much. We will stay in touch. Aya says nice to meet you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We know it's late there.
Okay, so
for all your
see you
time
guys
and your
later.
patience. It's very helpful.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I will go to rest now, and this is something shared between me and Roger. Like we both have this style suite for Ramadan. So yes. Yeah. So okay, see you guys. Tislam.
Thank you.
Okay. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I hope it's not too late for you now, Roger.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's a bit before 11 p.m., so that's fine.
Okay. Does anyone have
Well,
a cat?
I was just at some point. I mean, I didn't want to take too much of their time because I know that they usually go in a bit. They wake up at 3.
Yeah,
They eat.
that's
They probably go to their jobs now. They probably have a reduced schedule during Ramadan.
yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, it was like almost what is it? Yeah, we took a long time.
We took about an hour and a half, a bit more.
Yeah.
Probably.
But that was really helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now it was really helpful that he summarized the 3 things he wanted us to do. That
I
was
think that was the highlight.
yeah. Because I was, he explained a lot and he had answers to everything, and they really know what they want to do, and they're pretty sure with that. And yeah, so I didn't really know what we can add, but yeah.
I think. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, you. I don't have anything important to say. I said everything.
I think that it would be interesting to have an external view on the challenges I face, because, and especially that issue of unemployment and underemployment, and this issue of private and public sector.
Yeah.
I hope that you now understand the situation. There were a number of things I was expecting, because in a way this issue of public private is similar in a lot of our countries in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's a fact that usually in the public sector you have much more job security than in the private sector, and that's an important component when people actually decide to choose a job, because it will be extremely difficult to lay you off once you're in a public job.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing. It's like, I think 10 years ago, it is exactly the same situation happened in China. So most of people, when they graduation, their parents force them to apply the job in the public company or public center, because their parents think this is more safe for their children. But after 15 years, the growing very fast in China. More and more international companies go to China, and the market is open to the international. So the concept of the working in the private company is become better and better. More and more people think, I don't want to stay in the government company, because when you jump in that situation, you can tell after 30 years later what kinds of lifestyle you have it, because it's totally fixed. You don't have any challenge in your life, because every day is the same thing. So you don't have any challenge. But when you get in the international company, you totally have a totally different challenge. And you don't know what will happen in the future, and it's make the life more energy. So I think I totally understand his situation right now he's facing with. I mean, that is a lot of the Chinese students right now facing with that challenge too. And but I think when the Iraq market is going to they become more international, more company want to invest in Iraq, the situation definitely will become better and better in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to actually look at what they're planning to do. What do we think the challenges they have, and they may not see them in the same way we see them, and maybe suggest a number of things also.
Yeah,
it was interesting. One of our questions was about, are you willing to pivot?
Yeah.
So probably change some of the assumptions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I think that will definitely come in some way, because I don't think in their planning they did any type of scenario planning, and that's why, from what he's saying, that they struggle a lot with pivoting every time something comes up, and that's why they keep on postponing the launch.
The launch, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to probably propose something in that regard also. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I was a bit puzzled about is the fact that he was saying basically that a member in the club would be mandated every week. They'd have a session during the weekends, and they'd have 2 workshops a week that would be basically optional. But then, since they were very, very very clear about what kind of requirements they want for the English language when the person comes in. I mean, they were talking about A1, so do they have a clear specification in that regard? I was wondering if 2 hours a week are enough to actually push your level from A1 to a level that would be convenient to a private organization that would have some kind of international component.
Yeah.
That's also an assumption that would be interesting to look at.
Yeah, that's why they also have the workshops, I guess.
Yeah, but if they're optional.
They're optional, yeah. I was like, for me, it's still not not 100% of the concept is clear to me yet. Like, for example, they want to offer a lot of different sessions and workshops, like dancing and whatever, to cover different activities. But with who should do that? You know, like, do they do it by themselves? Do they pay themselves a salary? Do they need to hire someone? And yeah, I didn't get all of that yet. And I'm not sure. Also about the financials, because they really want us to, like, that was his second point, the financial stability. That's, I think, a little bit hard. Maybe it's just me and I didn't understand everything, but it's tough for me to judge, because the only real numbers we got is like the monthly fee.
Yeah, maybe what we should probably ask is, and at the end I was thinking about it, but I wanted to reread the notes, is if they don't get sponsorship, is this program viable solely based on the amount of money they're expecting to come in from memberships? Because if it's not, then that, I mean, it's a moot point. If you can't cover everything, which, you know, the bare minimum that you're expecting,
yeah,
then no matter what solution we give them, it's not a feasible project unless we tackle finances. So I guess maybe what we can follow up with is how much all of this, the program, the activities they want to give, the workshops they want to put on, how much of that are they expecting, or like how much do they expect this to cost?
Yeah.
And how much of the tuition that they're going to receive is going to be able to cover, and what's the difference, what's the balance? Because he says he's talked to companies, but there's no security in finances, which
yeah.
I mean, that's a concerning point.
At the end, I was thinking about asking him for two things. Like, first, maybe an overview of their financials, like they currently are, including, I don't know what kind of expenses they he mentioned at the beginning, but it was very unspecific. It would be great if we could ask him for that.
Yeah.
I know it's confidential information, but we can only help him if he gives us that information. And the second thing I would really like to have is something like a brochure or an overview of activity services they offer. Maybe they have something like that. They really should have something like that, because they already wanted to launch something they give to their future club members, like, hey, this is what we offer, to just have an overview of like really everything they planned.
Yeah.
It could be an electronic document, actually, so they don't have to engage in the cost of printing. I suspect, I had the question, but I told myself it's too long probably. I suspect that the rate of penetration of smartphones in Iraq is quite high.
The rate of what? Sorry?
Smartphones?
Of penetration of smartphones is quite high. So you could basically advertise by sending a PDF to the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to have the overview, like, yeah.
I was just saying that I think you should send like a 1 page of what the company is, what it does, like, because I feel it's much easier to write a 5-pager explaining what you do, what you're about, and all that, and summarize it into a 1 page, so it's clear and straight to the point.
Yeah.
Right? And a 1 page also of the financials, straight, clear cut, so that it's clear to us as well, and we take it from there. Because if it's a whole 20-page document, you know, a lot of things are being said. Unlike if you can just summarize it into 1 page, that it's so clear to us that we cannot misinterpret anything there.
Yeah. I think that was part of the reason why some of his answers not confused me, but had me going in circles a bit because they were very long-winded. And so by the time we got to kind of maybe answering the question, I was already lost in all the things. Like I wrote 6 pages of notes while he was talking. So I'm gonna have to go back and go through it again and just kind of reorganize. But like, I think that's a really good idea. It's like bullet point, like this is what we do, this is what we have, this is what we want, this is, and it's just like very clear cut. Because yeah, I got lost in a lot of the words.
Yeah, but that's probably why our help is basically important. That's probably why our help is probably important.
Yeah, just clarifying.
Maybe at some point, or maybe tell him focus on that aspect. But that's probably a bit. You're spreading yourself a bit too
wide,
too thin over. Yeah. So maybe concentrate on that because your challenges would be easier there. Because at some point, thinking of financial sustainability, the viability of the club and sustainability of the club will be dependent on early success.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question, how would you measure early success? Especially that, I mean, maybe the metrics he placed are a bit too ambitious or a bit too dangerous. I mean, when you're saying 1% reduction of the employment rate in the first year or 2 years on graduates, I mean, the University of Baghdad alone has 80,000 students. If you divide by 4, you've got about 20,000 graduates just from the University of Baghdad. And I got that list of universities in Iraq. So you probably have something like 100,000 or probably 200,000 graduates a year. If 24% are unemployed, that's 48,000. So 1% of that is basically 2,000 persons you'd like to get employed more than what those are employed in your first year of operation. Well, that's damn ambitious.
Especially since he said they want to focus on Baghdad first. Right? He said
I mean, I'll check the numbers, but Iraq is now about 40 million in population. I guess Baghdad is probably 8 or 9 million. That can be easily checked. You might end up with graduates, with people coming to study in Baghdad from the provinces. So the student population and the youth population might be larger than the average of the population in other places. But these are numbers that are interesting to look at, to also probably tell him, look, you probably need to reorient here, get it simpler, as Nicole was saying. I mean, just focus on that particular aspect, and probably thinking in terms of unemployment and underemployment is interesting, because actually it was clear that his problem is in underemployment. He basically said it. He said there are not much jobs in the private sector, but I mean, people are not pursuing them. So
yeah.
I think actually that's an important number. We need to know how many jobs are actually available in the private sector.
Yeah.
Because you're saying 2,400 people they want to be putting into jobs, but if there's only 300 available in the private sector, then you're not going to succeed. But if there's more than 2,400, or at least on par, then they can succeed with a 1% reduction. We need to know that number.
But the thing is also how they define that unemployment rate. Like, unemployment rate is not dependent on one company. One company can't say, like, there's so many other factors that are at play that I agree with the fact that it's very dangerous to say we as a company will reduce unemployment by 1% within a year.
And another thing is,
refine it more.
Yeah, the 24, he mentioned something like the unemployment is 24% of the whole population, right?
Yes, and they want to reduce it by 1.
Yeah, but the problem is like, this is for whole population. It's not for the specific student, right? So maybe in the student, maybe in the student this part, maybe it's 20% or 80% of the.
No, we definitely need to rephrase that. That's just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. So the three things he wants us to do is like first a marketing plan. I think like
Yeah.
that's the not the easiest. It's a lot of work, but it's the clearest thing to do.
Yeah.
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 And when he said that, I was like thinking about Alex. You are the
Yeah.
most experienced when it comes to marketing. Maybe you
Yeah.
have like a good structure or idea or whatever.
Yeah. I almost have a structure about that thing. Yeah.
Well, we need to think in terms of social marketing also. Basically, that was what was discussed on Friday. We'll probably look at some of the elements.
That's
we
true.
did that.
That's
It was
true.
just like I was just thinking about because maybe we can split up the three tasks kind of equally, and then we can work on something and
Yeah.
come together and like talk about it again.
Yeah. I think so.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then the financial thing is the second, and then the third thing was the having a good strategic plan which considers all the unintended issues like Corona and riots and whatever they have. I think that's the toughest one.
I remember last time somebody mentioned in our group said why they just teaching the English for the college student, why they don't teach the English for the high school or middle school student. I mean, this is a good direction we can go, right?
Just yeah, I think I said that, and I thought it was just very strange that they would start at a point where
Yeah.
not only are you kind of going into your professional career, but you're also in terms of language. As you get older, it gets harder to learn a new language. So why
Yeah.
you wouldn't start at an earlier age?
Yeah.
That surprised me.
They can definitely can earn more benefits and more profit from the early age student, like the middle school, high school, right? And
you're targeting them, right?
Yeah, and
so
I-
they're going to go into your program.
Yeah, and I ask him like, does they need the grade to go get in the college, but the English grade to get in the college? He said yes. So that means the student need to have a good grade for the English. So they need to have some English lessons, right? So it's an opportunity for their company to build up this kind of business for the high school student.
Yeah, that is a great point because he asked us for like growth potential and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be like a great suggestion here to go not only target universities but also like colleges and
Younger primary, like you're talking like early age primary. Get them when you plant an idea in somebody's head early, that's how you change a behavior. When you get to a point where they're kind of fixed in what they've known and what they've heard and what they've believed, it's hard to change someone who's like, no, when I get out of high school, I'm going to focus on college and then go straight into the government type of position. But if at an earlier age you introduce them to English and then you slowly then introduce them to different opportunities, once they get out of high school, they're not as shell-shocked when you say, no, you should look for private sector jobs. They're like, you know what I mean? Because it's more, it's not foreign to them anymore. It's more, okay, I know about them. And
Yeah. I also have.
but, I mean-
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I still have a question about him. Like I want to ask, but we don't have time. It's like how many students want to go abroad to study? Is it a trend to go outside, go to other countries study in their country? Because if it's a trend, like go to abroad study, that means there is a market for the IELTS and the TOEFL to teaching them this kinds of English, the skills, and there's still another business for them.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that would be like a long-term plan.
Yeah.
To kind of incorporate more rigorous testing so that you give them opportunity outside of the country, is what you mean, right?
I mean, it's like when they want to go abroad to study, they need to pass the IELTS or TOEFL exam,
Yeah.
right? But so they have a ability to teach the student about IELTS and TOEFL, I think. So if they need to pass the exam, they can find this company, the Spring, and they can teach them this IELTS and TOEFL, and they can pass the exam, and help them to fund the it's like an agency, help them pass the exam, help them to getting the to offer the school, help them to write the PS, like personal statement, help them to write a CV, and help them to get in the university in other country. Is a business for them.
You know what? You just provided very interesting ideas that could be placed into the proposal we give them.
Yeah.
In terms of activities they could do within the spring period circle.
Yeah.
But then I think they conceive themselves as some kind of non-government organization, a non-profit.
Yeah.
So their aim is, and because his background, his background in the sense that what he's doing a lot, it seems recently, is basically youth empowerment. So they have framed that in terms of youth empowerment. They're not for profit. They're not interested into actually making money. They're more interested into having a sustainable, long-term organization that's meant to empower people into getting more skills to increase their chances of being hired in the private sector. I think that in that perspective, I'd understand why they don't want to work with the schools, because working at the lower level of education is much more complex. Getting into the schools is much more complex. I think it's the same in every country. If you're an organization outside and you're not trying to get to the formal primary, secondary school levels, that's not necessarily easy.
It's not
so
easy.
I understand somehow their perspective of actually working with college students who are more independent now. If you have a club outside, you don't have to worry too much about getting into a formal structure, into rigid system where you've got a formal exam at the end of things.
Yeah.
How can we best split up tasks? Because I feel like we could discuss that for hours right now, but I'm not sure if that's productive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I agree with the splitting. I think it's just three things. If Alex takes marketing, then we can split the rest between the four of us.
Okay.
Yep.
I will just say, in terms of finances, I don't have much background in that, so I would gladly take on the task. But if someone has a stronger background in financial solutions, it might be best to go to them. That's the only one that I don't necessarily know. I could maybe be a great help to.
Actually,
you want to do it?
I was saying I'm good with any of the two. I'm comfortable with any of the two options.
Okay, so Alex is doing marketing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We need to split up anyway because we have 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I
think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can give the financial thing a try, but I can give it a try. Except if anyone else really want to do it and really has like a lot of experience.
But in any case, it's not a final assignment in the sense that this assignment is not going to necessarily be carried in the end. We're at some point going to share with each other our ideas and put them. Yeah,
Yeah. So would you want 2 on financial planning and 2 on adapting, or 1 financial planning and 3 adapting to change?
We can also, like Alex, does it make sense to split up the marketing thing somehow? Because it's a lot of work. If you want to like cover all of it alone, that's like a big task.
Okay. Tell you what, Alex, I had a couple ideas for marketing. Do you want to work together on that?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I had a couple ideas on was, even though he didn't mention it, the 3 part of it is related to adaptability and flexibility, is the behavioral change that you need to instill in the community. I had some ideas about that. I can write something up about that if you'd like.
Yeah.
So
okay, so you and Alex on marketing.
And I'll do a little bit for the flexibility of the system, in a sense.
Okay.
For finance, would
you be okay, or I can join you, help?
It's not really a 2 people task, I think.
Okay. Then I'll join the adapting.
Okay, cool. So you and I will work on the adapting and flexibility of the system. Then we had. So Roger, what appeals to you? The other thing that we probably need to address too is making connections with stakeholders, because that's where they're faltering. So do you have any? Is that something that you might have any thoughts about? Because that would be another topic we should address.
Yeah. I could actually look at that.
And
Okay.
I think
Where
that
they
is
stand
also,
in the relationship with stakeholders, what are the risks they might run into, what can, I mean,
yeah, because
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it also speaks a lot to the adaptation. Like,
Yeah,
if they
and the
are-
finance too, right? Like making sure you have those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool then.
So, cool.
I'm not really
Okay.
sure what actually to do yet, but I think we just start and do something, and then we can
yeah.
talk about it. Like, is tomorrow too early? Like before or after class?
We can talk about it. I think Roger, you will after class be fine with you, or would you rather before?
No, it's okay. I mean, I could stay a couple of hours after class. It's okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a few days class and it's done. So
Mhm.
it's okay. I mean, if you spend a few hours, I've selected the schedule because it was convenient for me. I mean, because I'm still teaching Tuesday and Monday, I have a few classes in the morning. So having that in the evening is fine. So
Okay.
I don't mind meeting after class. If you want to meet before class, it might be possible. It's just that in the afternoon I have two classes. One is about 1 hour, the other one is about 1 hour and a half.
Yeah, because I remember you said you're not really available Monday, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, I
can
mean, it's easing up now. Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow after
Okay,
class.
so
Tomorrow after class, first draft.
Yeah.
And should we maybe schedule a second meeting with Mustafa?
He just sent me a message on WhatsApp. He expressed his thanks for the meeting and his willingness to answer any of the questions we have. Meet another time if you want, or we could just add him to our WhatsApp group or another WhatsApp group that would be separate from the conversation.
Yeah,
I think
maybe we
another
should-
one.
About the project.
Yeah.
So that the group, team 2 could join into that other group so that they have also questions they could ask him. But
Yeah.
then,
We should have like a WhatsApp group with him, and it would be. I think we should maybe meet him at least once again before Thursday to briefly walk through the basic concepts we have.
yeah,
Because-
and then test our assumptions and see how well they match what.
If he likes it or not. Yeah.
Maybe you can also just send us that one pager that, yeah,
Yeah.
If they have something like that.
yeah, if they have.
Yeah.
Well, we
Maybe.
could ask him actually. We could ask him. We just send him a message, basically an email
Yeah.
or a message,
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
"Do you have this? Do you have that? Could we have this? Could we have that?" And I think it's.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying. I think he's willing to provide us with everything. He just said it.
Same.
that He's willing to.
Same. Maybe Roger, could you set up like a WhatsApp group with him, and then we can ask him. We can just ask him directly.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Okay,
sounds
then.
good.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about everything yet, but I think we will figure out something.
No, we definitely will.
Yeah.
And it's a short sprint also. Like by Thursday we'll be done. Before Thursday.
Yeah.
We have to.
I mean, I think we shouldn't think too much into the tiny details. It's
Yeah.
very important to give him a high level approach to the questions, be it marketing, financial sustainability, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we hit those four things, stakeholders, financing, marketing, and then a flexible system, I think we've done everything that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so too.
Yeah, I also think for the marketing plan, I don't want to give him a kinds of very formal that the stupid marketing plan. I just want to give him like the key point, like the what is really can strongly help him something like that. I don't want to give to him like a, describe the whole situation and that kind of bullshit. That is for teacher. That is not for the for the company.
It really has to be practical.
Yeah.
And yeah, directed to that particular culture
Yeah.
and the current situation for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool guys.
Cool,
I
cool,
have
cool.
to run if that's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
But
Fine.
I will work on I'm going to reorganize the presentation a little bit, and then I can send like the bare bones of it so you can see the flow and add, change, whatever.
Yeah, I started some basics, structures, concepts, whatever. I just copy them in your presentation and then you have a look.
Yeah, I can just reorganize format, but the content will be right. It'll be what you put in.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.